So this is a real interesting combination of technology because we are used to seeing devices that look like this in an office setting where you have a handset and you have a touch screen. But how many of you have seen one that includes Android? So this is a 7.9-inch IPS screen running Android 4.2. You do have a 2-megapixel camera here at the very top, and also it is something that is running two types of technologies for communication purposes, PSTN and SIP, and it also supports Skype, so you could use this as a Skype phone as well. It does have some basic applications in here, and you can notice that the Google Play Store is present. You can actually synchronize this with your Google account for all your contacts. It does have a browser as well as some standard apps that you can use from Google. Photos, if we look at some of the settings here for a second, you'll notice that it's Wi-Fi enabled, Ethernet enabled. There's some dial settings here that you can go through if you want to configure certain aspects of what's going on with your phone depending on the kind of connectivity that you have. Standard things like date and time settings that are available, and also sounds. You could set up your SIP account, and here all you would do is put in whatever information you would deem necessary in order to get that to work. You do have the ability to set brightness for your screen as well. So here you have the different brightness and when things should time out. And then you also have the ability to set up a passcode for login purposes, as well as a blacklist screen for calls that you don't want to receive. System updates are also available, as well as advanced settings, so you can go into developer mode just like with standard Android. And here in the About area, we'll just give you information about the phone, gear tech, as well as the version of the phone, software version, serial number, and what have you. Now, a lot of tech in this phone, and yes, you can use this for Skyping, and you can use this for getting standard mail. And you notice that you have here Wi-Fi connectivity, but you could use this as a standard phone as well. And up here on the top, you'll notice that you do have familiar jacks. Here's your cell phone or your standard phone jack, as well as your USB. You do have the power and then the headphone jack for the headphone slot that we have here. On the side here, you do have your standard jack input for audio calls, and this would be for traditional calls, not over Wi-Fi or over Ethernet, because over here, as we saw, you have your Ethernet connection, and you can tell because it's much wider than the standard phone or standard phone connection that you have in the wall. Now on the back, you'll notice that you can also wall mount it, so you can actually connect it here if you'd like to have this in a wall mount type situation, or you can use this kickstand to just prop it up as I have. Now you also have two kickstands, and they just change the angle for you and actually prop them up. So you'll notice how this way it's a lot higher because of this angle, or you can use this one to have a lower and therefore have a smaller angle when it comes to your phone. Now the handset is a standard handset. It's very comfortable to use, but it also has like a magnetic attachment or connection here. It goes into place rather easily and it stays put. It doesn't fall off. Now as you can see here, you also do have your standard keypad for dialing, and once again, if you were connected into your Google account, your Google contacts would be available just by choosing your contacts here. There are no phone contacts at this time because I haven't set it up that way. You do have the ability to have favorites, go into recents, and you can use an enterprise type solution as well. Very flexible when it comes to phone calls. Now the phone also supports voice or speakerphone. So by just pressing the button that you have right here, you go into speakerphone mode and you can make any phone calls you'd like. So now I have the phone on my desk and it's actually set up so I have it plugged in. One of the things that I had done incorrectly that I just want to highlight is that the handset actually gets connected here on the side, and on the back is where you're going to have your standard phone line coming in if that's how you have it set up. So I have mine set up in a standard setup, and I'm going to press the speakerphone just to give you a sense of how loud this is. So pretty loud, and from a dialing perspective, it has all the expected capabilities that you'd have, including putting a phone on call, conferencing a call in. Everything is all dependent on the type of services that you have at home, obviously. From a browsing perspective, I also just wanted to share with you some of the app features. So it does have a built-in browser, and the interesting thing here is that you can use this to surf the web. So I'm just going to play one of the videos that I have on my channel. So first I want to thank you all for the great conversations that we've been having on the channel. There's been a lot of comments. So as you can see, decent streaming. Now, in order to accomplish this, you have to have Wi-Fi enabled or Ethernet. So I do have a Wi-Fi connection going, and it is, you know, streaming obviously some YouTube. So overall, I've been, you know, really impressed with the. Let me pause this for a second. Really impressed with the overall capabilities. Let me just go back to my channel. Let's go back one step, so you can see how this looks. So the browser capabilities are that, I would say, of the phone browser. You could obviously change this to show desktop mode. You can install Chrome. You can install any other browser that you'd want. But it's an interesting marriage between having a tablet, Android tablet, and a phone. The capabilities work well together. And I'm pleasantly surprised that, you know, this is something that hasn't really caught on yet. Very cool, very functional, and again, very innovative when it comes to a combination of Android technology with standard phone technology.